Number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. We are going to begin by talking about some vocabulary words. Protons, protons, neutrons, and electrons are subparticles. Protons have a positive charge and have a mass of 1 mu. Neutrons have no charge, but they do have a mass as well of 1 mu. And electrons, they have a negative charge and have a very, very small mass. So therefore the mass is negligible, and we're just going to consider it as not having mass, even though it does. The mass of an atom, sometimes abbreviated as mass number, is the number of protons plus neutrons, right? So those are the two massive subparticles. So when we talk about mass number, we only consider the mass of those two subparticles. Looking at the periodic table, you have a box like that for each element, and on the first number on that box is the atomic number. Okay, it is also the number of protons. Okay, and this comes straight from the periodic table, followed by the symbol. Okay, and over here would be the name. You don't need to memorize the name. The names will be given. So there will be the symbol here, and then at the bottom is the average atomic mass. Okay, note here that the mass number is the rounded average of the atomic mass. So for example, the mass number for helium would be 4. Okay, and its average atomic mass would be 4.003. Right, based on that information, you should be able to complete this table. I am going to do an example, but you should be able to complete this table. This is exactly what we discussed. So you have the element, the chemical symbol, right, the chemical symbol, the atomic number, the number of protons, which is the same as the atomic number, the number of electrons, that for a neutral atom is the same as the protons. We're going to skip the number of neutrons for now, but the mass of an atom, or the mass number, is the rounded mass, right? And the average atomic mass is right here, average atomic mass, and then the mass number is just a rounded version of that. Right, so just a rounded version of that. The number of neutrons is going to be based on the mass number. So we know the mass number is a combination of protons and neutrons. So if you have protons, then you can just find the neutrons. And I'll show you an example. In order to do this table, you do need to know a couple things. One is the number of protons is really what identified the element. Okay. And then number 2 is that all the elements here are neutral. And remember that neutral means number of protons equals number of electrons. They give you information, just enough information on this table for you to be able to solve it. Okay, and you have to use all those components that I mentioned on this slide as well as previously. Right, so let me show you an example. So this is just an example. It's not one that you have to solve, but it's just to help you think through this table. So the element that we're going to be filling this table for is calcium. So the first thing that you do in that kind of situation is to go straight to the periodic table. And I just took this from the periodic table. This is calcium. Okay, so let's do this. So calcium, the chemical symbol is Ca. Okay, notice that's capital and then lowercase. Okay. The atomic number is right at the top, so it's 20. The number of protons is the same as the atomic number, which is also 20. The number of electrons, well, I said that everything on that table was neutral, so the number of electrons is also going to be 20. I'm going to skip the number of neutrons for now. I'm also going to skip mass number, yes, and then I'm going to go straight into average atomic mass, which is right here. So I don't need to put the unit because the unit's already here. So it is 40.078. Okay, so the mass number is the rounding of this number, so I'm going to say 40. Okay, and I know that this number, so the mass number, and I said this before and I'll say it again, the mass number equals the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. So if I know the mass number, which is 40, and I know the number of protons, which says right here is 20, then just using some quick algebra, I can find the number of neutrons. So if you do that math, you can double check, it should be 20 neutrons. Okay, so that is how the process for filling in this table, and like I said before, is giving you enough information for you to make some conclusions. So I hope that was helpful. All right.